as we've had time, like I said, to kind of sleep this off, there was so many trades. It was overwhelming at times with how many trades there were going on throughout the week, but especially the last couple of days, like I said. So there are certainly winners, there are certainly losers. Mike, I'm going to start with you. I want you to give me 2 winners and 2 losers, but maybe just start with some winners. Let's start with winners. So give me 2 winners from the trade deadline for you.
Yeah, both my winners are Chicago teams. I'm going to go with the White Sox and the Cubs. I think both are winners. I know White Sox is a little more obvious. Cubs, maybe that's a little bit of a controversial pick, but with the White Sox, look, they got Kimbrel, but the crazy thing about the White Sox is now they have 2 of the best closers in the game. They got Kimbrel and Liam Hendricks on their team, and I mean, that's honestly what I wanted the Mets to do. I think that would have been a great thing to have Kimbrel and Diaz, but of course, it's not what happened. But for Chicago, I think that's a huge plus, especially with Kimbrel, playoff experience. Whether that playoff experience is good, that's up to you. But I think he's still one of the top closers in the game, having a resurgent season, and I think it was a good trade. And they have a stacked lineup: Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu, like still a good team. Obviously, Tony La Russa, whatever you think of him as a manager, he's an experienced manager, and he's kind of put this team over the top a little bit. And they have a nine-game lead on the Indians, so I think the Central is kind of theirs. And getting another top closer, I mean, the playoffs are all about pitching. And they have guys like Lance Lynn in the starting rotation, but the bullpen, you can never have a good enough bullpen, and they got some other arms in there too, aside from 2 essential closers now. So I think the White Sox are a total winner. I think they're one of the teams to beat in the American League. They were already, and they certainly didn't hurt that going in with this move. Excuse me. And then the other team, the Cubs, I think it's a little more of a kind of a hotter take. Not that I'm someone that gives really hot takes all the time, but maybe I do, depending on who you ask. But the Cubs, look, I think, and a lot of Cubs fans were, they were upset. They were, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo. These are guys that, Javi Baez, these are guys that won them a title. And if you're a Cubs fan, you went, there weren't even people alive who remember the last championship. So like, the end 100+ year curse. I mean, that is just crazy. So, obviously fans are going to be emotional. They're going to be attached to those guys. So I get why maybe some Cubs were upset. I think some other ones were maybe disappointed in the return. That being said, I think the return is great. I mean, we're not great, but very solid. You got top 10 prospects from the Yankees, Giants, Padres, and Mets. So, that's a pretty decent haul. I think about the Mets, Pete Crow Armstrong. Look, we said it before. He just had shoulder surgery. But that being said, he was a first-round pick very recently. He's a top 5 prospect in the Mets system. And, to get a bunch of top 10 prospects from around the league in organizations like the Yankees, like the Padres, who are, quality organizations in terms of bringing guys up, that's good news. And also they got, the White Sox second baseman, Madrigal, who is just, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, but I know that that's right. Okay, cool. So I'm not a White Sox fan. I can't sit here and tell you that I saw this guy in 2020, especially with the divisions not playing and the Mets having to play the White Sox, and I haven't seen the Yankees play the White Sox. And so, but the point is that their second baseman, who they traded to the Cubs, even though he's battled through injuries throughout most of his career so far, in the short time that he's been here, he's put up some solid numbers. And, you got rid of guys who were not coming back. I mean, Javi maybe, but, I think Rizzo was probably going to get a bigger offer elsewhere. Chris Bryant was definitely gone, especially, he's had a contentious relationship with the front office, the whole like service time thing and all that. So, I think overall the Cubs, like, if you're a Cubs fan, I understand it's tough for you, but I think overall it was pretty solid for them. And like I said, solid for the White Sox. So both Chicago teams are my winners.
Yeah, I'll go now. First off, Sam, I appreciate you starting with some positives because we've had some negative topics.
A negative show. We got to switch it up,
So I like starting with some winners here. And I'll go with the Marlins, who are clearly selling. And I really, really like what they did, and particularly with Starlin Marte. He had a really nice year for them, 1-year rental. They tried to work out an extension. The two sides were not close. So dealing him was the very smart, sensible move. They had to. But what they got from him, they got Jesus Luzardo, who's having a very bad year, 6.87 ERA. But this guy has just absurd stuff. Like, there's really no other way to put it. High 90s fastball. He was a 12th ranked prospect in baseball just a year ago with the A's. For them to deal him, I saw a lot of A's fans were furious, even though Marte's had a great year and everything. Luzardo was a all-time pitching prospect, really great stuff. And the Marlins, to their credit, and this isn't the old Marlins who had stacked lineup and couldn't pitch. They had the 7th best ERA in baseball. I was really surprised when they said that on the Yankees broadcast last night. And if you look at the 2022 rotation, it's really legit. Alcantara, Lopez, Rogers, Sixto Sanchez, and Luzardo as the 5. They don't need him to be anything more than that. All these guys are under 25. That is a really scary rotation. Obviously, not every pitcher turns out. 3 or 4 of those guys are having great years now. And if you're able to turn him around, that's huge. A great buy low option, getting him at low value, trading him for a rental. He's not going to re-sign with the A's. You aren't going to keep him. So huge credit to the Marlins front office there. It looks like they really are building something. So all the credit in the world. The other winner, I'll give 2 here because one's a cop-out, just the fans of baseball. Like the fans of baseball were
wow. That is a cop-out.
I have another one, though. The fans were really treated to a great deadline. We've seen some really lackluster runs. I remember I used to actually go to Fordham baseball camp and live in the area. I took off one Friday the afternoon to watch the trade deadline coverage of the camp. I missed the last day of the camp. Nothing happened that day. No trades at all. This deadline would have been worth it to take off because of the amount of deals. So, I give credit there to the game of baseball, all the buyers and stuff. But I'll go with the Astros. I hate giving them credit, but, the bullpen has been a weakness for them this year. They had 3 pieces, Yimi Garcia from the Marlins, Kendall Graveman, who maybe we'll get into with the losers here, but 0.79 ERA, he's been phenomenal with Seattle, really good piece. And then Phil Maton from the Cleveland Indians, really good peripherals. I trust that analytical, storm to turn it around there. So the Astros winner, fans of baseball, Marlins, those are my winners here. We'll see what the Astros do with that great bullpen, but it's certainly, you always improve your bullpen if you're a good team. I firmly believe that, even if you have a great one. And they were ones who did it with 3 impact arms. So those were my winners of the trade deadline this year.
Well, I mean, rotation next year. So certainly it's team certainly on the up and up, and they had a pretty good 2020 as well, for what it was worth. But my winners, I mean, we have to say the Los Angeles Dodgers, although that might be kind of a cop-out as well, but certainly they are a winner. If you get Max Scherzer and Trey Turner in a trade deadline, they had a need at starting pitching with their injuries and other issues, of course, with Trevor Bauer. They went out and got Scherzer and certainly filled that need and more. And then Trey Turner is a guy they can look to sign in the future as well. We talked about that, but the Dodgers are a clear winner, I think, and especially because they took Scherzer from the Padres and they kind of took from the NL West and their competitors out there. My other winner is the Atlanta Braves, actually. I think they had a huge week, like we talked about, against the Mets, where they were able to win that series, 5-game series. They were able to take 3 of those games. That changed them from, if they would have lost a lot of those games in those series, they probably would have been the sellers. Now they turned into buyers because of a good series against the Mets. They felt like they have a chance in the division. And they did both. I mean, they're certainly have plenty of injury issues this year, Acuna being at the top of that list. But go out and get Jorge Soler, I think, was a really nice bat to get. Adam Duvall's not bad at all either. And then Richard Rodriguez from the Pirates, that's another really solid, really underrated, I think, pickup for the Braves. So I think they're in a really good position to maybe challenge the Mets a little bit, especially with what we talked about with all the Mets pitching depth and concerns there. And a couple other teams that I wouldn't call flat out winners, but certainly got a lot better is the Giants, who we talked about with Chris Bryant, and then also the Blue Jays, who were able to get Jose Barrios. It was a very big cost to get a guy like him, but the Blue Jays certainly need help pitching. They need you have Hinge and Ryu, but you kind of need an ace or somebody at the top of that rotation to work with Ryu. And Barrios seems like he's going to be that guy. He's had a pretty good year for the Twins. So they did give up a lot, but I think the Blue Jays, some people might call them winners. I wouldn't go that far just because there's still a long way to go in the division and certainly in the wild card as well. But they definitely got better, just like the Giants.